you all for joining in tonight for our Wednesday Word for Winners. This is a special edition. We're going to be honoring our pastor for his birthday. So we would like to wish a happy birthday to Bishop Grant, and I am going to introduce our panel. Coming to the stage first will be Tavis III and Tish Grant. Now we will have Tony and Amani. Next, we will have our executive pastor, Elder Tavell Grant, and Minister Kiana Grant. And finally, coming to the stage is our honoree, Bishop Tavis Grant II and First Lady Robin Grant. Can we all give a round of applause? All right, everybody. Once again, thank you all for joining in with us on tonight for this special edition. We're going to get started. We're not going to belabor the point because we have some words of wisdom and a lot of knowledge and some funny stories, some good stories that's going to be shared on tonight. So I'm going to get started, and I'm going to give the very first question to Tavis and Tavell. So I'm asking you all, share with us what you learned about fatherhood and being a husband from your dad.
With my dad being my dad and being literally everywhere all the time, he is seen all over the world, all over the news. The one thing that I learned about being a husband and a dad would definitely be that even though you have whatever busy schedule you have, your family still comes first. Your family still comes first. Your family comes first. So that means that you take time, you be intentional about taking time to spend with your family. Because you may be all over the world helping everybody else. But if you're not taking that time with your family, all of that is in vain, because your real assignment, your real first place, your first spot should be your
Okay, to Elder Grant.
Okay, so I was saying that your family comes first, and you have to be intentional about making time for your family, because that's your first assignment. Before you are put out into the world, you have people who you share blood with. Those are the people who you should be making sure are well before you're running off trying to save the world. Everything could be going to shambles at home if you're not taking care of home. So it's best to make sure that your family comes first, and then you can be shared with the world. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Tavis. Executive Pastor Tavell.
I think for me it's more specific because in a lot of ways I'm following behind him. And so the importance of having a life. So, he's not just the normal husband, the normal father. He's got a whole lot of stuff going on. And so the willingness and just the reality that you got to have some laughter, you got to have some joy, you got to have some fun. You want to, I remember one time he preached a sermon, he said, some people have weed, I have Oreos. I take my milk and I dip my Oreos in there. He don't eat the Oreos no more, but at that time it was Oreos, and he was saying in the sermon, Oreos. So I've learned that you just have to have a life, and so what I really in the season now of my life is just trying to make sure that I can have a life where I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm working out. I'm making sure I have my joy, have my peace, because when I do that, it makes me a better husband. It makes me one day, not yet, a better father. Because, you know, he would leave the house and go golfing, and it seemed like when he went golfing, he was at peace when he came back home, because he went out and did what he enjoyed, what he had fun. And so I know Kiana would attest to this. When I go and I do stuff and I'm with my bros, I come back, I'm a better man. And so that's one thing I've learned from my dad.
Okay. Thank you guys for those words of wisdom. Bishop, is there something that you would like to, I know it's your birthday, but it's just one question in regards to your sons. What is it about you, or what traits from you do you think that you would like to see them always showing and exhilarating?
Give me money. I want money. I want lots of money, and a few more grandbabies. With Tisha's on the way, Lyric is on the way, and we just can't wait until she gets here. She thought she was going to get here today, but my
Still
birthday.
time. It's still time. It's not
midnight is not here
11:59
yet,
yet.
so she can make it by midnight. I think it's important. One of the things that I learned very early on as a leader and developing as a man, I wanted to ensure that I was there for my family. I was there for my wife and there for my children, and it was and still is a challenge, because to whom much is given, much more is required. And I think that the easiest thing to do when you're seeking to do all of these things in life is to sacrifice relationships. And the relationships that end up being sacrificed the most are the ones you need the most. And it's always been my position is I need my wife more than I need any other relationship. She's my best friend. She's my buddy. She gets on my last nerves. I can't stand her sometimes. Sometimes she can't stand me, but I come home every day. And she comes home every day. She better come home. And we're a partnership. And we've grown exponentially along with our family. Our family has grown. But I think that's intentional. It's not by happenstance. And I think many relationships falter because there is not that intent from the very beginning that I will not give up my wife, I will not give up my marriage, I will not give up my children for the sake of success in other places. And I'm not taking from anybody else, but I believe it works for me. It has worked for me. It continues to work for me, and it is a work in progress. It is something that you have to, and this is especially pastors. We are great at buildings. We've created some of the most phenomenal buildings in the world, and we're horrible fathers. We've created some of the greatest ministries in the world, and we're horrible husbands. And there is this biblical edict: husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. And that wife is family. And so from the very inception 27 years ago of pastoring this one church, I made it my business that this would be, I went to Dallas, Texas to Bishop T.D. Jakes very early on. And Bishop Jakes instilled in us the principle of family. And from that moment to now, it still works.
Okay. Thank you, Bishop. Lady Robin, I have a question for you. What makes Bishop Grant a special type of man?
What makes him a special type of man? Well, I love him. Everybody always say I smile. He's a big reason for that. I smile. He makes me smile more than frown. Put it that way. All right. And when you asked Tavis and Taville about their father, when they were younger, and we joke about it now, he was so determined to be a good husband and a good father, a good uncle. You all remember those days. We had family day every Saturday, faithfully, whether we wanted to go somewhere or not. Tony remember those because he would drag my nieces, everybody. It's family day. It's family day. Mother Jefferson. We had to stop literally. It was fun sometimes, but then other times we were like, they would say, "Mommy, tell him to stop. Uncle Tavis, stop. It's family day." What am I saying? He has such a drive and a purpose. He wants to please us, but not only does he want to please his family, he likes pleasing the people outside the family. Members, the community. He's a civil rights leader. He's an activist. So he's concerned about people. Oh, that was something else. Now, that's another story. I can say that because, y'all said I had to stay by the script. Y'all know, some of y'all know I was talking too much last time. Years back, on New Year's Day, he dragged us to Mother Vera Jackson's house. For a season. Now, my kids are small. After the Gospel Bowl. Now, my kids were after the Gospel Bowl.
That was 9
Go ahead,
hours.
Taville.
After we heard every preacher take it to the cross, after at the Gospel Bowl, he laid hands at every person that was in Zion and walked every pew.
Food wasn't too tasty. That's all I'm going to say.
We went to Mother Vera Jackson's house. That's the story right there. That's the story right
For those of us
That
that
says a
are
whole
Greater
lot.
First members, old school Greater First members.
So only love will make you endure hardship as a good soldier.
It was hardship as a good soldier.
Yeah,
It was
family. That
the
was
good fight
love.
of faith.
Yeah, we had to fight the good fight and eat stuff and make it look like
I
it
don't
was
even know
good.
what I ate. I don't know.
That's ministry. And nobody knew that. Nobody knew that. We came
Every
to
New
church
Year's Day.
smiling.
Mother Jefferson can't believe it. She's in shock.
I know she is shocked. This happened? This really?
Every New Year's Day.
That's it.
Well, that is a great part of what makes Bishop Grant a Bishop Grant. And one of the reasons why we at Greater First love you so much, and we would not imagine spending another a day, your birthday, without being here, which you especially would have fallen on Bible study night. So thank you for sharing your day with us, because you could have been anywhere else. We appreciate it. Now, Tavis and Taville, since Lady Robin told us what's it like, what type of man Bishop is to her, what is it like being his son? I'll start with you, Tavis.
Let's see. Where do you start? Well, being his namesake carries a lot of weight. Because more than likely, everybody expects you to be a certain way. So the minute that I really started singing, everybody's like, "Oh, it's sooner or later you're gonna be a preacher. You're gonna be a preacher. Get your collar ready. Oh, it's gonna be you and your brother too. Oh, but you the
They
name,
weren't lying.
huh?
They weren't lying.
Oh goodness. Okay, here y'all go. So of course, being a namesake, it was growing up. It was interesting trying to find my own spotlight. You know what I'm saying? It was interesting because literally everywhere I went, everybody knew me. Oh, you look familiar. I think I seen you somewhere. No, you ain't seen me. Did I see your daddy? Your daddy was on the news. I know who you are. You Bishop Grandson. Wait a minute. Hey, that's me. Yes, that's me. And then the one that you always get which I don't think I've ever said, but, ooh, your daddy sure is fine. Ooh, your daddy sure is fine. All the time.
I understand.
All the time. I said, okay, all right. Well, yeah, that's my dad. He sure is fine. Ooh, you better watch it. Ooh, tell Robin, because I don't know why people just won't call her first lady like that's, you know, like you really know my mama like that. You really don't. They tell Robin, she better look at it. No, trust me, you ain't got nothing to worry about. That one got that on lock. Thank you. Yeah, but as his oldest and namesake, it was, I definitely found my place in the arts, and having him there supporting me, I would be all the way in Deerfield on a Sunday after church. He and everybody would get in the car and come to a concert, a stage production I'm in, whatever it is. Happiness Club when I was in high school. So Park West Theater, you know, everywhere that I have been where he was able to be there, he was there. And I think that was one of those big things for me, because I knew that I wanted that support of my dad. I wanted to make him proud. Being his namesake, I wanted to make him proud. Anything that I did, I knew that because my name was Tavis, I had more of a charge, more of a duty, because I wasn't going to go nowhere and embarrass my daddy. Because I knew at a very young age that he will pop up on you anywhere, and if you ain't in the right, you gonna be right when he get through with you. So I knew that wherever I went, I had such a heavy weight on my name. And I knew that at the end of the day, that name could not be tarnished. So I had to make sure that everything I did was of excellence, because my name had weight to it.
Okay. And Elder Tavell, same question.
I mean, I definitely, understand everything he's saying. And I learned this more so, I feel like, when I got to Central. So being at St. Stanislaus, everybody Catholic, majority of them are Hispanic, I could be under the radar and nobody really knew, oh, that's Bishop Grandson.
Uh-huh.
But at Central, it was a whole nother ball game. The moment I got in the front office, they saw that last name. They were like, what church is that? You Bishop Grandson, aren't you? Yep. I said, yes, I am. I had teachers, my principal, you Bishop Grandson, huh? I remember one time I got into detention. Mind you, listen, I'm a good kid. I'm innocent, okay?
How did you get in detention?
Right. I didn't do anything. I just happened to be sitting next to the person who talked too much. And we had a sub that day. I get in detention, and the guy says, what you doing in detention? Ain't your daddy a pastor? And so I've had so many instances like that, but I had one that was recent, and my wife can attest to this. So we're in McDonald's drive-through line. And I'm my daddy's son, so you might see me every now and then with a frown on my face if I don't like something. And in this particular day, she was running late, and so I had a frown on my face. Let's keep it real, okay? And we are in, listen, I'm trying my best to get where I need to go on time, and I'm running late. So I got a bit of a frown on my face. And so we get to the drive-through line, and the lady is looking at me like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, it's just one of them days. She said, oh, well, then I'm going to just have to tell the pastor on you at church on Sunday because you're not supposed to have a frown on your face. I said, wait a minute. So there are so many, I guess what I'm trying to allude to you all is that having him as a father, without him being there, it inevitably ended up in a place of correction, that he didn't even have to be there for me to know I had to act right. They wanted me to go play ball when I was at Central, just across the street. It wasn't down the block, around the corner. and 3 miles down, just across the street, back when West Side Middle School was there.
Yeah.
And they wanted to play ball, and I kept telling them I can't go
I can't.
and leave school because my daddy said no.
You can't.
I said,
can't.
no, you don't know who my dad is.
No, you don't.
Okay, you don't. He doesn't have to be here to know that I'm out here. And all I need is this to be the day that he come and pick me up from school, and I'm not at the school when he picked me up. And so I feel like for me, I've learned how to live appropriately. But more so, I've even found out who I am by looking at him. Realizing even confirmation on, okay, this is why I feel like I should be in politics one day, or activism, and it's something I ran from, but when it's in you, it's in you. You can't run from it. This is why I knew inevitably I had to be a preacher or a pastor, and I ran from that. I kid you not, I wanted to be a basketball star.
Yes, Lord Jesus.
I wanted to play ball on a level that I could be at a collegiate level. I practiced every morning, 5:30 a.m. By the time 11 p.m. came, I was leaving the gym when I was in college, and the Lord was like, this ain't for you. Your hoop dreams are canceled. And I even I wanted to go into sports, the sporting field, but as a sports management, as a chaplain, do all these different things without just looking at the fact that because he's my father, I can see what's my next. And so that's one thing that I'm grateful for in having him as my dad.
All righty. So then we're going to come to Kiana. We have not forgot about you guys. We are glad to have you as a part of our family, church family, and the Grant family. I know they're happy. The question is, Kiana, what traits or qualities in Tavell do you see that comes from his dad?
Well, number one, I can say his love for family. What? It's a moment, girl. Oh. What? I'm about to go get up.
You okay? You okay, Kiana? You okay?
Oh, okay. Y'all scared me. You know? But one of the things that I definitely see is his love for family. That was something that, I mean, I grew up with, some older cousins who were like my sisters, but he really helped me value family. I don't think I had such a more concrete view of family than what I have obtained by being with my husband. And it is because of his father's value of family. He's so dedicated. And I had to realize how much he loved his family. Like when we started dating, his mom, oh my God, I have videos. His mom would call him every day. And I'd just be like, oh my God, again? I mean, I have videos recording it like, look at y'all, watch, she finna call y'all, and she would be calling. I would catch it on video. But needless to say, they're all about family. And I have seen, like, the love. It's brought me to tears before, the love that Tavell has for me, and I've seen it even from his dad to me. Even in the absence of my dad emotionally and not being there in my life and supporting me, I've seen it equivalent. I've seen how Tavell loves me so much that he'll support me and he'll do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm okay. And his dad is just like that, even towards me. And so much as it's brought me to tears in moments where I just couldn't believe that in my craziest, most frantic moments that he wanted to be there. And it would bring me to tears like, wow, like, you sure? Like, you sure you want to, I'm outside, you sure you want to come back in the house? Come back. You sure you want to talk to me right now? And it would literally it's brought us closer because he's just been there. He's a ride or die. He's going to be there for you. If he loves you, there's really nothing that will get in the way of him loving you. I'm grateful that you can attest.
I think we all, we can
and I
attest
see
to
that.
We can attest.
yes. And I see that in my husband, like ride or die, no matter the arguments, no matter the crazy, you love me. You know, everybody got their crazy, but
He waiting.
to thine own self be true. But yes, he loves me, and I see that strong love for family and value in his dad just as much. And that's the biggest attribute to me that stands out.
See, when I hear this is like an out of body experience, Tracy Doretta, because the better part of my life, I grew up estranged from my family, and was on my way as a ward to the state of Tennessee. And by and large, the street raised me. Street people, drug dealers, prostitutes, people who ran corners raised me. And the common denominator, Sister LeGrand, was the street had a code. And once they claim you, you belong to them and they belong to you. And that was my family. The street was my family. And I made up my mind that if I ever had the opportunity to have my own family, I would have that same value, that we have a code as a family. We have a code as a church. You join this church, you either in or out. Ain't no in between. Ain't no part time, sometime. Either you with us or you ain't with us. And that's the value of this church. But that's the value of me as a person. And that's, for a lot of people, it's hard for them to grapple with that. And when you're raising children with a standard, you have to give them the room to become. And that was, there's 5 years between them, Tavis and Tavell. So, Tavis growing up and not having it being imposed upon him that you got my name, you're going to preach, you're going to be an evangelist, you're going to be a prophet and all this kind of stuff. He went in a totally different direction in every shape, form, and fashion. I mean, just way off the reservation, okay? At one time, Tasha, he was in the football. And, man, I was excited. I said, man, he in the football? Oh, this is going down now. It's his size and everything. I'm like, Mother Ross, we getting paid. We getting paid. He going to get a scholarship. And he was at Lane Tech in Chicago, and I never shall forget. And we was like, what is on his mind to be on a football team, Tony? And so we went to the rehearsals and we went to the recitals. We drove all the way from here. We lived out here. We drove all the way from here to practices, to scrimmages. And there was one day we went to the practice and we looked out there. I said, that's Tavis. And boy, he was coming off the line. He was tackling. I said, Tavis, hit him. And the boy was hitting the boy. He sacked the quarterback. I said, oh my God, he got it. We're on our way. They end the scrimmage and he come out. I said, hey, I'm yelling at him. I said, it's your daddy, boy. You better stop thinking you're going to wait until you get up on your game, start ignoring me. So I went up to the fence. I said, hey! The boy pulled his helmet off. It wasn't even Tavis. And Tavell kept saying, Daddy, that ain't Tavis. I said, that's Tavis. We all thought that was him. But so what worked with Tavis, I did the same thing with Tavell. And I think every family should have a code. Every family should have a standard. Every family should have a sense of value that you belong. If you're a Jefferson, you belong to the Jeffersons. And we don't have to be the Jeffersons on TV. But you're part of something. You're part of the Leslies. You're part of the Williams. You're part of the Smith. And if it ain't but 3 of y'all, this is it. You know, this is in, you know, growing up in the South, families had names. And so you knew a family by name. And there was only 3 Grants. So it was me, Sean, and Ada Mae. And when we got divided, it left an impact on me. And so I think that, and the second part of it is, especially pastors, allow your children to become whatever they want to become. When they wanted, each of them decided to accept Christ on their own. It wasn't imposed. My house is a godly house, so as long as I'm paying the bills, we going to God's house on Sunday. Now, if you don't like living here, you got to find somewhere else to stay. But up in here, we going to church, so there was that standard. But I didn't. My nieces as well. But I didn't impose upon them my faith. I let them come into their own faith on their own terms, and allow them to develop. And I think that's where the tug of war comes in parenting children, that we so want them to be so successful. We so want them to accomplish and achieve so much that we sometimes can get in the way or superimpose upon them a way of life that's not for them. And it comes through trial and error that you learn how to stay in your lane.
Like your middle name, Lane. Okay, Tish. The question was, what qualities in Tavis do you see from his dad?
It would definitely have to be the way that he is with our son. I knew Tavis loved me. Can I tell him about when I had this experience? Okay. So when I was pregnant,
already on the thing because we heard it online.
So when I was pregnant with Taj, I ended up having to have an emergency C-section, which my body rejected the epidural, so they had to put me under. So Tavis couldn't be in the room with me. And so I knew that Tavis had loved me because he got so emotional that he was like, you come back to me safe. You better not die on me. And I was like, Tavis, it's not even that deep. Like, it's going to be okay. And so he was just like holding my hand until then he was like stretching me. And I was like telling him like, babe, you got to let me go. They got to take the baby out. And so the whole time he was like calling my mom, calling my best friend, like panicking. And so when I got out the recovery and came back into the room, Tavis like laid eyes on me and he was like, I knew that God was faithful because I knew that I would see you and I would be able to see my son and that we was going to live a happy life. And I knew then that he was like a wonderful person and I knew he had to get that from somebody, which was his father. And he's just been like, I could just tell that he loves me. Like, he has my back, like, no matter what. So, yeah, he cool.
All right, he cool. Okay, so Tony, we're coming to you. If you can share, seeing as though that Bishop has been in your life all your life, make sure it's on. Amani got you. Okay. Can you tell us what did your uncle teach you about men and relationships?
Oh, boy. That's a good one. Oh, boy. That's a great one.
That was you.
You gotta talk in the mic. We gotta hear you.
Oh, that's a good question. He's taught me a lot. Now, how much I followed or listened to, that's a different story. But one of the main things would be is the way a man is supposed to love a woman, just by watching how he is with my auntie. You know, he's very caring, very loving. You can count on him for anything. And so watching him has always made me desire that. Now, I didn't always go for that, but it always made me desire that. And now that I've gotten older, I find myself comparing a lot, because as far as I'm concerned, it's always like, well, Bishop said, or Bishop said, or Bishop does. And I find myself like, now that's the standard that I hold it to. Well, you got to do this, because Bishop said when a man loves a woman, he don't tell her no. So, you know.
That's Bishop, not all the way true.
Bishop told me that the world was mine. So, you know, that's the standard that I hold it to now because of how I've seen him with my auntie.
That's good. Okay. So since you have the mic, we're going to go around, and I'm going to have you and Amani to share, if you guys would, a lesson you remember learning from him. Or what lesson do you remember learning from him?
Ooh, one of the ones that stick out the most touches on what Tavis and Taville said about even when he's not around, you gotta always make sure you're doing right because you never know, you know, when he's gonna pop up. And I remember my junior year of high school.
He was in New York.
Yeah, my junior year of high school, I just decided this day I didn't want to go to school. You know, I didn't want to go. So me and my friends just decided, you know,
You gonna ditch?
I was
You
gonna
just ditch school.
I didn't want to go to school. And my uncle was in New York, real random. He calls my auntie, like, where's Tony? It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I remember very vividly, it was a Thursday. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. He calls my auntie, like, where's Tony? So my auntie, like, I would guess she at school because, you know, I was at home with my mama during the week, so why would she know where I was at? And he's just like, no, where's Tony? And my auntie kept saying, well, I think she's at school. And he's like, no, call Taryn and tell her to call to school. So my mama, not thinking nothing of it, well, yeah, she's at school, calls the school, and they tell her, well, you called her out sick this morning, remember? And yeah, so of course, how he knew all the way in New York at 7 o'clock in the morning that I woke up and just decided, today I didn't want to go to school. I have not the slightest idea, but that was the last time that I ditched. And there's been many times since then when there'll be, you know, things that I've wanted to do because, of course, you know, even though I grew up as close to my auntie and my uncle, you know, Tavis and Taville, them the preacher kids. Me and Andrew was a little bit, you know, he would call me his wild child. You know, I'd be considered the wild child. There would be a lot of things that I wanted to do, a lot of places that I've wanted to go, a lot of crowds that I, you know, have ventured in over the years. And it never just quite worked the way I wanted to because it's always in the back of my head, like, just like Tavis said, this would be the day where he just get a feeling of, let me call Tony and see where she's at. And there's never been a time when I was probably doing something that I shouldn't do, that he won't randomly text me, what you doing? Call me. And it don't even be an intentional call. Half the time it'd be like a call he did on accident, and then they'd be like, okay. So after a while, I just stopped, you know? I just stopped because you never knew when I was gonna pop up in his head, because for some reason I always popped up when I was doing stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amani, you have a story you want to share?
Yeah.
Oh, I know you got a story you want to share.
Oh, she has plenty. Don't be shy. Come on. The camera is on, sweetheart. The camera is. Well, get the mic back to your mom.
Okay. You don't want to share today?
You don't want to talk?
I think she a little nervous, y'all. She didn't got nervous for live. We see her around here popping and locking and hopping.
And everything.
Oh, we gonna come back to her. We gonna give her a little time, let her think about something. I'm coming back to you, so you better be ready. Taville.
What was the question again?
A lesson you learned or story you want to
Oh,
share
a
about
lesson
this?
or a story. So he told this story, but I don't think he even told the story completely. But you all might, I think he told it this year. So I had a basketball game. And hold this real quick. So I had a basketball game, and this is when I played for St. Stan's. And mind you, at that time, that was when I had the only chance to be the best player on the team. When I finally got to Central and I was hooping with some people from the hood, some brothers, I was down to the totem pole. I was all the way down there. Barely made the team. But at St. Stan's, I was the star. And this particular game, it was the CYA, I want to say semifinals or something like that. And we played against St. Thomas More. And I'll never forget that because in that particular game, the first quarter, I didn't score at all. Second quarter, I didn't score at all. Third quarter, I didn't score at all. And then it came that fourth quarter, and it was like he had this look on his face. And I could read the look. He didn't have to say anything, Elder Stanley, but the look said, "Don't you embarrass me out here on this court." That's what that look said. That's what that look said. Don't you embarrass me out here. I came this game, and you're not going to score not one bucket. So needless to say, I went off. This was 6th grade, I think, or 7th. I went off for about 8 points straight. I hit 2 threes, a layup. I think they fouled me. I hit the layup. I missed the free throw. And so after the game, he gave me that look like, "Come on, grab your stuff, let's go." So we leaving out, and my boy Josh is like, "Man, you did real good. We lost, but you was killing today." And he just giving me that look, like, "You bet." Yeah, my mom had to drive separately. She couldn't ride with us on this trip. He gave me that look like, "Don't you say nothing, don't you say thank you." So I just was like, I gave him like a head nod, like, "All right, bro." So we get in the car, and he don't say nothing. He don't say nothing. Like he's a person who has a lot to say. So he ain't saying nothing. Something is wrong. I'm literally at this point melting in my seat. So he decides we gonna drive, I think it's down this road. We driving down this road and it's snow outside. That's when he had the black Armada truck, and he stops in the middle of the street and says, "Take them gym shoes off."
That's not exactly what he said, but we in church.
Well, yeah, hey, this is the censored version. "Take them gym shoes off." And I had just got these gym shoes from Deacon James Ford. These are a birthday present. Some Nike Elite white and red gym shoes. I was feeling myself, but take them gym shoes off. So I take the gym shoes off. I thought that was very odd, but I took them off. And I take the shoes off, and he gets out the truck. He gets out the truck, grabs the basketball, gets out the truck, opens my door and said, "You get out the car," and threw the basketball down the street. I ain't got no shoes on. It's snow outside. And he said, "Go get the basketball." I'm looking at him like, "What?" "I said, go get the basketball." So I'm running to get the basketball. Now, mind you, this a lady comes. I know who this lady is. I ain't gonna say her name because she didn't help me out. And she said, "Bishop, what you doing?" "I'm trying to help my son." What? And she just kept on driving. I'm just looking at her like, "Save me, save me." I felt like, "Kevin, all right, help me. And get back in the truck. We get all the way back to the house, and we are 2 blocks from our home. We get where Purdue Cal starts. We're 2 blocks from the house. And he says, "Dribble the ball back to the house." I don't have no shoes on. Still no shoes, y'all. Dribble the ball back to the house. I'm dribbling the ball back to the house. I get back. I got asthma. I'm huffing and puffing. My mama looking like, "What's going on?" He give her that look like, "You better not say nothing." So he tell me, "Go to your room, grab some different gym shoes and some shorts. We going to the gym." This is back when it was the Omni. I think now it's like the YMCA or something. We spent maybe 2 to 3 hours of some more training. He ain't trained to train nobody in basketball, okay? But that day he trained me. He was throwing the basketball off the backboard, talking about some run and grab the rebound. I mean, like when I say throwing the ball off the backboard and it's going to the other side of the court and I got to go run and get it. We went from the weight room to lifting weights to being on the treadmill. After that, the next week's game, I think I might have had 15 because I just knew I couldn't do that again. But I think the moral of the story, in moments like that, you realize that whatever you're doing, there's more in you. And that's one thing I learned from my dad. He's going to pull the best out of you. Like yesterday, he texted me something, and he doesn't know how texting me that made me see things differently. Like literally made me change the scope of how I view my life. And I ain't just saying that to say it, but it was what I needed, because sometimes when you're looking at life, you just look at it one-sided because you're looking at what's going on right now. But it's good to have somebody who can see ahead to help you see, like, there's more. So I just attribute that to my dad.
Well, you go get the basketball. No, I'm just kidding. I the better part of my life was filled with people who were inserted at certain times to bring out certain things in me. And the overarching impression was always this, Doretta, that, Sister Lewis, I had to learn how to make it without them. We came up, Rochelle, in a generation where they could leave us at home with specific instructions by ourselves. Lock the door, don't come to the door, answer the phone on the third ring. Don't answer it on the second, answer it on the third ring. Only answer when you hear my voice. If you don't hear my voice, hey, them people had a program. They could leave us at all times of night and did nothing happen, because they practice teaching us how to survive, how to make it. I wanted these boys, I wanted my nieces to be able to make it in this world no matter what they faced. And I probably crossed the line in a couple of situations, but look at them today. That's all I can say, look at them today. Because I think what's missing today is that determination in parenting that you can make it. And I'm going to use every means that I have for you to make it. You know, for Tavis to travel around the world. Tavis received a scholarship to go to Culver Academy. It freaked me out. I love my children. If I was living today, they would be on trackers. It's a miracle that Monty is not on a tracker right now. And I'm constantly considering putting a tracker on Monty. I mean, in her book bag or something, so I can know where she is at all times, because this world is crazy.
He had trackers on our phones.
yeah, track.
I
did. I put trackers on that. That's right.
On our cell phone.
I couldn't go to college without the tracker on my phone.
If I went out of town, out of the country,
to Missouri.
I went to Missouri one year for the summer.
And I put a tracker on
this
phone.
There was a tracker. I got a text message saying that your phone is being tracked by this number. And I said, you've got to be kidding me.
In that red Cruiser.
In my green PT Cruiser.
That's right.
My green PT Cruiser that I got for my 18th birthday graduation. That's when I got it.
I put him on it.
And it was a tracker.
I mean, it was Bishop Simon Gordon. Tavis received that scholarship. And it was an anonymous scholarship. We still to this day don't know who. It was several $1,000s to go to that academy for that summer. And they said, he's got the scholarship. And I was freaking out. And the same as when Tony went to college. I went to Bishop Gordon. Bishop Gordon said, if you hold him back, there's a likelihood he will never leave home. He said, let him go now, and he'll come back to you a man one day. And we took him down, because to me, Culver, Indiana was like the middle of mega country before mega. And, we went down there and we dropped Tavis off. Tavell and I cried.
Well, let me tell that part. They were very embarrassing. We checked
It's called
Tavis
love.
in. It's called love. No, but wait a minute. They were embarrassing. Let me tell you. Everybody walking around smiling and saying goodbye to their loved ones. And it was like a dorm setting. We go to the dorm. He meets the leaders. We the only one of color in there, first of all. Then all of a sudden, Tavell started crying. I mean, crying like somebody beat him when the nose is running. And then that made Bishop cry. Then all of a sudden, Tavis was crying. And the people were walking around checking in.
Too.
You were crying.
I was doing good too until Daddy started crying. I'm like, I'm just gonna be gone for like a month or so.
About 6 weeks.
Broke out.
I mean,
He broke out like prison crying.
But
like
they were
somebody
crying.
died crying.
And
and
the people were
not
looking at us like
ugly
we were
crying.
crazy.
It felt longer than 6 weeks.
I mean, y'all were crying like somebody had passed. And I'm standing there, I was embarrassed. You can finish your story.
But the first visitation we had, Tavis had his military uniform on. I was so proud of him. I was like, I'm going to see my son, and we're going to spend a day with him. And I even called Bishop Gordon and say, hey man, I'm going to see him. I told everybody. I thought we was going to take pictures and we are going to walk around the campus, all this kind of stuff.
Walk around heaven all day.
We got there. He got his military uniform on, everything. He all disciplined and whatnot. I said, oh, this the new Tavis here. He said, yes, sir, and no, sir, and yes, sir, and no, sir. It was about 15 minutes. Yeah. Then a horn or something went off and said, whoop. He said, oh, I'm out, sir, and turned around. And I thought he was like going to get something. He walked and walked and walked until there was no Tavis. And we were sitting there saying, and the person came up and said, visitation is over. I said, visitation is over? You mean tell me we done drove 4 or 5 hours for 15 minutes? Thank you so very much for coming to Cobra Academy. And you'll talk to Cadet Grant later on for the next visitation. I was so, it was the most lonely drive back home for 15 minutes. I didn't know whether to be upset or mad.
We had lunch together.
Yeah, we had lunch. We had a little lunch together.
And because my schedule was the way it was, I had to be in certain places at certain times, or I would receive demerits, which I could not receive because I was on scholarship. So because I was on scholarship, I had to be where I had to be when I had to be there. And it wasn't just myself. Everybody, when it was time for you to go to your next place, it was time for you to be there. And they didn't take, it was no questions about it. You had to be where you had to be. So I knew I had to be, and my swimming class was next. I don't know why I did that after lunch. That was real smart of me. But my swimming class was after that, and I had to go grab my stuff from my room so that way I could go and be on time for class. So I had to do what I had to do, and I wasn't trying to get kicked up out of there. So I was like, all right, I love you. Thank you. I love y'all. I'll see y'all later. All right, gotta go.
So now he pack up his little bag, his little baby bag, and Tish be ready to go, and Taj be ready to go, and he slapped them together and put the bag on his back, and he get up and leave. Tavell, and him and Kiana, I'm learning they will leave you.
Like you would leave them.
They will leave you. And so Robin and I, we have decided that this is going to be our year. We're going to leave them. Turnabout is fair play. But it's a process, what I'm trying to get to, Latisse, in terms of how children grow and how parents must grow at the same time. In some instances, they grow apart. In the best of situations, they grow together, because now we're at a different space as parents and grandparents, and they are parents and husbands and wives, and they are teaching us. They are going to live their life. Tony is going to live her life. Andrea is coming back from her little respite. She'll be back at work tomorrow. Amen. And we orbit in this universe without running into each other. And the challenge is recognizing that they are adults and they have the right to choose. Now they're learning that we too are adults and we too have the right to choose.
That's good.
Y'all got that?
That's good.
That
That's
includes
good.
you too.
Okay, so Lady Robin, I know you have some questions. We're kind of wrapping it up, nearing the end. But First Lady has some questions for the audience. And if you are on the chat and you would like to answer, you can answer. I'm about to go to the chat now so that I can follow.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well, so we've been here 27 years. So I would like to know, who is Bishop Grant's favorite artist? Who knows that?
Give him some options, like a
Not
musical artist.
gospel, not gospel.
Yeah, musical, secular.
Musical, it's
Give him 3
secular.
options at least.
Okay, give you 3 names. Okay. Like I know some. Okay, one is James Brown, Al Green, Teddy Pendergrass. Out of those 3, which one is his favorite? Somebody.
Sister Mother Ross said Al Green.
All
Okay, we got
right.
Al Green.
Okay.
Any other answers? Teddy Pendergrass.
All
You
right.
understand Teddy Pendergrass?
He said Teddy.
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 They on first name basis, you know.
Teddy.
You know, I know Teddy.
All right.
In the chat, didn't anybody put in?
Let's see.
Teddy. I see
Teddy.
Mays.
No.
Somebody put
Terrence,
Mays.
that was not
He
in
said
that was
Mays.
not in Frankie Beverly and
Nobody
Mays
said
was not
Frankie
one of the
Beverly and Mays.
options.
Okay.
No mic typing tonight.
Okay, you ready for me to tell the answer? James Brown. Let me tell you, when I first met him, our first date, he told me his favorite, who he liked. And I'm like, what kind of minister is this that like James Brown? I remember thinking that. Over 30 years ago. I'm like, James Brown?
James
Listen.
Brown.
When James Brown died, we were in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Very much.
When I tell you, you
yes.
would have thought it was a family member that died. Between him and my Uncle Lester,
Yes.
you would have thought that they had a family member that
They were
passed
trying to get
away.
up in there.
I mean,
They went somewhere. They
heartbroken.
did. They went somewhere.
Heartbroken.
I think they did. Did y'all make it in there?
Y'all went somewhere. Oh, yeah.
He never was
never got
making it
There
to the
you
funeral.
go.
So yes,
He a real fan.
I mean,
That's a true fan. I would have never guessed that. James Brown. Huh?
Yeah.
One day you
James
gotta take your bishop coat and throw it off so they can put it back on you.
thank you.
You see, he said
Oh, my
Maceo.
goodness.
We have to hear his.
Oh, that's Tavis.
Okay, Lady Robin, next question.
Okay. Now, who? Well, this is a guess. This is just a guess. He has a favorite rapper. Okay, he has a favorite rapper. So I'm going to give 3 names. Okay, I'm going to give Lil Wayne and
You know Lil Wayne?
Ludacris and Rick Ross.
Gotta be Rick.
Well, all y'all got
Rick
that.
Ross
one.
is the biggest boss.
Gotta be
All
Rick
y'all
Ross.
got that one. Rick Ross.
It used to be
made it
Jay-Z.
to a couple of
Yeah,
sermons.
Jay-Z for real.
It used to be Jay-Z.
Okay.
It used to be Jay-Z. Before Rick came on the scene, it was Jay-Z because we knew the Blueprint album,
Yes.
forwards and backwards.
Yeah.
The Fade to Black album, we knew that forwards and
We
backwards.
knew Jay-Z.
We knew it so bad. We
The
knew it
hip-hop
so.
bishop.
We knew it so. We knew what song was coming next. We knew the instrumentals.
He played the CD straight through.
Straight, and especially on road trips. Oh, we knew it.
Yeah.
And Fred Hammond. That Pages of Life album, we knew that. Let the praise begin, I swear. And then
And
we
that
could-
was your very first
that
song
was
you
my
did
very
for
first
That's
song
why.
that I laid at
That's
You're
why.
right. And that's why I hated the song afterwards. Because we listened to it so much and then I had to come in and sing it. Yes.
Next question.
Okay. Who? Well, now you all might know this. Where did I meet Bishop Grant? The very first place we met.
Operation Push.
Yes.
Tell him what you had on, because that's what he say every time he talks.
He tell it all the time.
I had a.
Come on, dress. Come on, dress.
What I have on? Look at him.
It is amazing The road trips. You brought up the road trips. Tish, you can't
Yeah,
let
and
her
that
talk
big
about
old
me in public like
excursion.
that. Huh?
That big old
And the expedition.
beige
The
excursion
expedition.
too.
The Sequoia.
That was the
Yeah.
James. That was the Deacon James Davis vehicle. There, that's the vehicle we almost went to jail in. James
He
Davis
was
almost got me
speeding.
arrested for speeding. But we, it is, and I'm thinking about that now, of how much of now Operation Push and Rainbow Push is integrated and woven into our lives. But that's where we met at the time. I was a staffer with my good friend at that time was Reverend Tyrone Kreider, and I was talking about this just this afternoon. We started a group called the Young Adult Network, and we said, Kiana, we were going to change the world. We were going to change the world, and so we started the Young Adult Network. And Tyrone was an alpha, and so we said we're going to reach out to fraternities and sororities. And Irma Faulkner, whose father owned Harvey Chrysler Plymouth, it was the only African-American auto dealership in the South suburban area. And at that time, they were mega in automotive. And so Irma came to the first meeting, and Irma said, I have some friends that I want to invite to our next Young Adult Network. And Irma would always try to get me to consider, I need you to call me. Why don't you call me? You should call me. And I didn't want to call Irma because Irma wasn't my type, so I didn't want to call her.
I didn't want my mama's
And so
name to be Irma
she would
either.
get up, you didn't call me. Why you didn't call me? You should have called me. And so the next meeting, the friends didn't come, and Irma said, I got some friends that want to meet you, and I think you want to meet them, but you got to call me. And so I thought she was trying to bait me to call her, and so I called her. I called Irma. She said, about time you called me. I said, well, are you going to bring the friends or what? And so she said, yeah, I'm going to bring the friends, but don't act like you don't know me when I bring them. So she brought a friend, and one of the friends had on a pink dress, and it was like a fur dress. It had, I don't fluff or something. But it was a bad dress. It was a dress with an address, and so we had sign-in sheets, and we had broken down into various committees, and the woman with the pink dress on, I said, "You gonna be on my committee. You gonna be on my committee. She's still on my committee. You gonna be on my committee," and I got her number 773-779. 71, I can't get other letters because y'all be trying to call, but I know that number by heart. And I called that number, Tony, and your grandfather answered the phone, Deacon Lawrence Flanoy, and he answered the phone. And I said, I was very, very intelligent. I was very mannerable. I said, sir, this is Reverend Tavis Grant from Operation Push. He said, Operation Push? Reverend Justin Jackson? I said, yes, sir. And I am calling to speak to your daughter, Robin Flanoy. He said, you calling to talk to Robin? I said, yes, sir. Reverend Grant, hold on a second, Reverend Grant. And he dropped, the phone was in the kitchen. He dropped the phone on the counter. Robin, Reverend Grant is on the phone. Reverend Grant is on the phone. Robin. I could hear him calling in the background. Robin. And she said, who? Reverend Grant. She said, who is Reverend Grant? He from Reverend Justin Jackson. He from Operation Push. Don't make him wait. Don't hold on, Reverend. Hello, Reverend. She coming. She coming to the phone. She coming to the phone. And I said, hello. And she said, she said, hello. I said, didn't I tell you you're going to be on my committee? So the next meeting, she wore black leather pants. If Mother Flanoy was here, Mother Jefferson, she would tell the truth. It was a conspiracy. She had conspired. She told her mama, I'm going to make sure I get his attention. She wore those leather pants, and that's 32 years ago. that I've been hooked on this. She's still been wearing leather pants and wavy dresses, and look at what she got on tonight. She got her knees out tonight. She got her knees and ankles out tonight, Mother Ross. Y'all should have bring in front of the Mother's Council. This ain't got no lap cloth or nothing. I'm just sweating up here. I'm just nervous. I'm weak. I'm tempted. I'm about to fall under the spirit of seduction right now. I feel the enemy in our midst right now. I need tongue talkers to pray for me. But that's where it all began. That's in the beginning was Operation Push.
One more question, Lady Robin, and then I am going to turn it over to Pastor T. This has been a great evening. I know you all have enjoyed listening to the stories that have been shared and the wisdom that's been imparted. And I know you all do have stories too. So, Lady Robin?
As we get ready to go home, is there anyone that, before we go, wanted to share a funny story or a heartwarming story? We're not the only ones with the story. Anybody? All right. We wanted to make sure we open it up before we get ready. You might have something you want to tell the outsiders and let everyone know what we know you love them. That's not what I'm saying, but you might have something special.
Well, I'll share one too, and then I'll get, and this is gonna be real quick because I have a whole lot. But this one right here is it's probably kind of like a Tony story. I have a best friend. Her name is Kim. We've been together in school since we were in kindergarten. We're still friends today. Pastor Smith used to call us Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. We was always doing something. So Kim decided that she didn't want to listen to her mom, and she wanted to go to a party. Her mama told her she couldn't go, so she jumped out the window, and I caught her, and we went to the party. She couldn't go back home, so we decided to stay with another friend for 2 days. From my understanding, Kim's mama called Bishop. We were here in church, and that was during the time when Bishop he ain't pull no punches. See, y'all got it real easy up through here. He was doing laying hands and talking. He called Kim and I up to the front and definitely put us on blast, prayed for us, and laid hands on us. I think I was really embarrassed because I could not believe, first of all, that her mama called. But the second thing is I couldn't believe that he put us out there in public like that. So that was and that was during high school. That was my senior year in high school. So that's my story. I remember that. So I'm like Tony. I couldn't believe he did that.
He called it making you famous.
Yeah, I was famous.
He called it making you famous, and if you did something that he was gonna make you famous, and back then. The saints now, you got it easy. You got it easy, because back in the day, it's a lot of stuff. My Lord, let's just thank God for grace. Thank God for grace.
All right, Elder Stanley. Funeral 2 minutes.
Right.
Is it on?
It's on.
It's on.
This story right here is we was helping out with a funeral, and Overseer Stewart asked me, could I help out? And I said, yeah, I close, so I like that, helping out. So they wanted me to read the scripture while the family was walking in. So this was before Bishop had begun to start having stuff written out. So I'm reading Psalms 91 or Psalm 120. I forgot the scripture, but I got in my way, and I got to, I remember some scriptures, so I'm hitting it. And he leaned over towards me and he said, "Just read the scripture." And at first, my spirit was a little upset. I gotta be honest. But when we went upstairs, because I was his adjutant, when we went upstairs, I told him thank you. Because the Bible said open rebuke is better than secret love. So he rebuked me in a special way where he was teaching me you got to just be obedient and follow what your leader is telling you to do. And now when he tell me to do, I just do that, like I'm finna sit down now.
Wow. I don't remember any of that. I don't recall any of that. I don't, and if it is, it's under the blood. Give our panelists a round of applause. I subjected myself to this tonight because I'm learning that in order to for others to grow, you have to be willing to do some things that are unconventional and unusual and give it a shot. I want to thank those. Let's thank God for our virtual audience tonight who've been with us the entire time. And we're going to continue to provide platforms and opportunities like this to grow as a church. I think part of the challenge we have today is so much of what we do is so pre-configured in a way that it's so predictable that there is not that element of surprise and element of creativity. Give our leadership a round of applause for putting this together tonight. And those of you who are watching, I hope that you can appreciate one of the things that we're held responsible for is providing models. You have many teachers but few fathers. And what I've gained in the 20 plus years of pastoring this church and being a leader is the value of proper models. And there is a difference between being perfect and striving to be better. And I will always tell you that I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to be better. I'm going to say it one more time. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to be better. And this platform today in exhibiting, because there's a lot of sheltering and a lot of shadowing that goes on in leadership today, to the extent that people are not able to grow and they don't see the patterns, they don't know the principles, and they're not familiar with the promises that God gives. And I'm humbled by the fact that God has granted me access to a grace to be a husband, to be a father, to be a leader, to be a grandfather. But it takes a grace on your life. And I want to pray tonight that this grace would be upon you and your family, you and your marriage, you and your parenting of your children, you and your business as a leader, as a provider. It takes a certain degree of grace to do these things, and it's missing today. People tapping into the grace that God has on your life. So I pray tonight that the grace of God would find you where you are, and those areas where you need strength and you need empowerment and you even need tutoring and mentoring, that grace would find you and grant you what God calls good success. That's what I want to decree and declare upon you tonight, that God would grant you good success in your marriage, good success in your family, good success in your ministry and your business. Good success is a unique opportunity that God will grant you that nobody else can give you. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, neither has it entered the hearts of men what God has for you. And what I love about this, I think about the various people that God has used to mentor us. Dr. Eugene Gibson, Bishop Larry Donnell Trotter, Bishop Paul Sylvester Morton, the blessed memory of Bishop J. Delano Ellis, and many, many, many others that God, Dr. Juanetta Frazier, many people that God has used to mentor us along our path and our journey, but it has given us access to a grace that we're able to pass on. And grace is one of the most undervalued commodities that God gives us as human beings, because it is the difference maker. It's unmerited favor that God will place upon your life. And so before we leave tonight, I want to decree and declare that God will release an unmerited favor on your life. No marriage is guaranteed anything. But let me tell you something. Grace is the difference maker. It's a struggle raising children. Grace is the difference maker. It's a struggle maintaining a healthy relationship. Grace is the difference maker. It's a struggle. I'm getting ready to let you in on a secret. Every family is a crazy family. I wish I had crazy family members in here. Every family is a crazy man. Every marriage got something crazy going on. Y'all ain't talking back to me. Every marriage, including this one right here. Including this one right here. I'm as crazy as a road lizard. Didn't they just tell you how I abuse these children? Amen. It's all under the blood and the statute of limitations. Can't nobody charge me with nothing. Amen. And ain't no witnesses. Ain't no evidence. But everybody has something. But grace is the difference maker. And so I want to thank you for allowing us to bring this to you, and we're going to do it again. If you appreciate the ministry that we provide, bishoptavisgrant2.org/donations, Cash App, $ Greater First Church, or you can give mobile 219-267-0940. We've got some phenomenal things that are coming your way, and you don't want to miss them. Those of you in person, you have an opportunity to give as well. I want to say it again. I decree and declare unmerited favor on your life, and get ready to live your best life. We heard it this morning. I'm living in the now. Somebody put it in the atmosphere. Somebody holler, I'm living in the now. Say it one more time. I'm living in the now. Now let's give God praise for the now. Love you so very much. I'll see you Friday morning. Kingdom Collaborators, 7 a.m. for the 7th hour on Friday morning. Is that it? We're out. Bye-bye.